All right, welcome back to Edge of Indy. Hey, if you haven't tuned into Edge of Indy, again, shame on you. You don't know what you're missing. The show's focused on local Indianapolis movers and shakers, businesses, causes, trending topics that we want to bring to your attention. Also featuring people and organizations that are out there helping make Indianapolis an awesome place to live and visit. So as we talk about regularly on the show, learn about local and also choose local. That's what Edge of Indy is all about. So if I could jump right into it, and who am I asking permission? I'm actually asking permission of myself.
I don't know. Can you let yourself do it?
I don't know, man. We have Public Relations Director of Comcast Indiana, Michael Wilson. How are you doing today, sir?
I am well. Thanks for the invite.
You're more than welcome. More than welcome. Hey, I've been a long time subscriber to Comcast business over the years, but this is you're head of PR for Comcast business, correct?
For Comcast cable, I do business. I do. If you need somebody to talk about Comcast, I am your guy in Indiana.
You are all things Comcast.
I am all things Comcast.
That is
Indiana.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
So basically, I do have a broadcasting background. I've been doing that for years. Left broadcasting about 2 years ago, almost now, and went over to Comcast. And basically, I get to be the head storyteller for Comcast. So it's pretty awesome. Because we do have a lot of good stories to tell, and hopefully we can walk you through some of those stories today.
Well, absolutely. So let's jump into it. As we understand, you've actually launched a new service called Machine Q.
Yes, this is like a totally new. This announcement came out last week, so we are on the edge of this announcement. There we go. See what we did there. See what we did. So
he's just falling right into place here. That's awesome.
So with this announcement with Machine Q, we're going to be talking about this. This opens up the discussion with so we've made the things that have the internet in regards to the Internet of Things.
Sure.
How do we run the network? What kind of network do we run? So that's why we're going to do something different. And that was the significant part about this announcement that we made last week for Machine Q, is this product is essentially a network. And what this network does, which we're putting in Indianapolis, one of 12 cities across the country that we're putting in this particular kind of network, and it'll be Indianapolis and the area, as it were, and we're still kind of determining where exactly that's going to go. We're still in the very early stages. But what this network does is uses basically like a low power radio frequency in order to transmit short, small bits of data, which are going then to the cloud for storage, and then picked up by, say, a business. So, for instance, to give you the example, right? If I am a company that does utilities, right, stormwater, and we'll just keep it simple at stormwater for right now. So if I want to measure amounts of stormwater or stormwater usage, or is this sewer being used, or when does the flow come out, or when has it been heaviest, and I just need short bursts of data. Cell technology has a real hard time going underground. Since this doesn't use cell technology, it actually makes it a lot more efficient because it's low power. You don't have to worry about powering this thing all the time like you would if you were going to do like an HD video feed or something like that. That needs a constant source of power. This does not. So because we can do these measurements in bursts, we're able to use low power for this low frequency to send bursts of data, store that data, and then let whatever business or utility or whatever it happens to be compile their data, figure out what they want to do, and move ahead from there. So it's a pretty significant kind of a. I hesitate to use game changer always, just because I think we use it too often anyway. But I do think that this is a very significant thing for Indianapolis, and I'm really excited about the possibility of clients that we have in the future for who would want to be part of this Machine Q project that we're doing.
I have a little bit of a knowledge about some of these innovations that are happening up in Chicago. They're doing some interesting monitoring of some water threshold, and they're these. I can't remember the name of it, but they're little RF low-powered broadcast points. And what we're going to be seeing, what you're talking about right here, is a whole innovation of you don't have to wire it, you don't have to support an entire infrastructure. You can bring these devices in, and they're going to be very dialed in and unique to exactly what that data is needed on a regular basis, right? So it's going to be a customization of these type of monitoring services, right?
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely. So it will be customizable, and you brought up Chicago. That's actually where we pre-trialed this, Chicago, and then two
Cool.
other cities. So that is the technology. It's low frequency radio signals, which require very little power. It's basically you can throw a broader signal with it too.
Okay.
So your footprint is actually bigger with this, which I think is also significant because you're saving power. It's sort of the bigger, better, and cheaper at the same time. It's less expensive to put these devices in.
Yeah, so where things, I mean, and that's kind of the evolution of the Internet of Things, like you're saying, is because you're not going to need that heavy signal. It's just a small bit of data, and it's very specialized what it's going to be bursting. So you're going to have this. I can really see kind of Raspberry Pi getting into this as well, and be able to have this type of large network of little specialized bots, for lack of a better description.
Sure.
This pinging what they're supposed to be pinging, and then you're collecting all that information at the cloud level, and then you can actually aggregate it into multi-purpose type of SaaS software, anything to be able to scoop up and read more into that, right?
Right, exactly. And actually, I was super happy to hear about the guest that's coming up. John Wexler's fantastic. And without people like him and technology leaders in Indianapolis and the surrounding area like him, I don't know that this would have necessarily been a market that Comcast would have looked at. But soon as I got word that like Machine Q was coming here, that this is going to be one of the launches, immediately I got like the warm and fuzzies, and I was like, oh my God, we can actually do something with this. This is great. What a great announcement this is. So I think that because we have the backbone in place, we have the sort of the infrastructure, but that knowledge infrastructure too, right?
Right.
Where you have a tech-minded society, essentially, living in Indianapolis. I think that's the cool part about it, and that's what makes this significant. This is sort of, I go back to like the old lunch meat logos of like lunch is what you make it, and we have the infrastructure in place, but we also have the knowledge in place. People want to do something with technology in Indianapolis, and I think that's the significant part because you need more than just a backbone. You need, the muscle that's going to move it. You need everything behind it when you're going to launch a major project like this.
And you need an environment that is very receptive to those opportunities, and that's what we're talking about. And that's what we've been talking about on Edge of Indy. Really, why we made this show is because we're seeing these burgeoning opportunities, and a lot of I wouldn't say early adopters. They're bringing these concepts that are our East Coast and West Coast concepts, and Midwest is really turning into the Silicon Prairie.
Yeah,
more than anything else.
I think people may have laughed like 10 years ago if you're like, oh, Silicon Prairie, elbow the guy next to him. But this is a real thing, and we have, we talked about John Wexler, but I think there's a whole community that is really invested in entrepreneurs. And so I'm excited about all the possible products that we could see spun off and using a product like Machine Q in the future because the technology is here, the infrastructure is here, and we have the people that know how to develop those products here too. So, there's a big made in Indiana angle on this for me. And so I'm going to look forward to that quite a bit in the future.
Well, it's a great testament to the fact that a company such as yourself is bringing this technology. Now, you're doing this without any cost to Indianapolis. Am I
right? Yeah, this is Indianapolis will not pay for this product, right? So it's not like we didn't call up Mayor Joe Hogsett and say, hey, you owe us money for this. We're putting this thing in. This is a thing that we're going to install on the company dime. And we are then going to look for people who want to use this product once it's in. It'll be about middle of next year is where we're looking.
And again, that's another vote of confidence for the city of Indianapolis and the state of Indiana. So getting into another product that you're launching here, LoRaWAN. Can you tell us about this project as well?
Yeah, that is part of the Machine Q thing. So the LoRaWAN is the technology that actually serves as the foundation for Machine Q. So when we have a discussion about LoRaWAN and what this technology is able to do, it's really that is the underpinning of the Machine Q project. So think of Machine Q as a project, and then LoRaWAN as the technology behind that.
Kind of the framework of execution.
Exactly.
All right, fantastic. So speaking of new technology, you also have something else that's being cooked up right now.
We are spending a ton of money on like research and development right now. It is ridiculous because we've like this year we've launched like, you know, I could go over the list, like DOCSIS 3.1, which brought ubiquitous speed of 1 gig throughout our network in Indiana. So any place in the any place virtually in the Indiana network, you will be able to get 1 gig speed as long as you're in that Comcast footprint. So we invested in that. Wi-Fi is another huge investment. So yeah, I mean, we've made investments all over the place. For business though, Smart Office is that's another thing that just launched this year. We did a trial run of Smart Office in Detroit. And I love the case study on Detroit because you had some high crime neighborhoods. You had some gas station owners that thought, you know, there's got to be a better way. They worked with our engineers. They worked with the Detroit Police Department and the Detroit Mayor's office and put this project up. It's called Project Greenlight, right? But they're using Smart Office, which we now have in Indiana, I think probably about 6 months after the launch that they did, or the pre-trial launch in Detroit. And what this does, this is a whole network of cameras and storage, and it is, we call it prosecution quality camera technology too. Really? Right, which is saved, and it's not going to be like saved somewhere that would be vulnerable, right? Sure. It's not like on
a VHS tape where they can...
Exactly, right? You just run a magnet over that, or you know. So the Smart Office technology is phenomenal, and what we've done in Detroit, and Detroit's kind of a special example of like this is like the Smart Office on steroids. Of, you know, this is when everybody's putting their head together and working together a lot. This is the network that you can come up with. And so Smart Office is this great camera technology that we're using, and it really is like sort of a network control function for different, like say you're a gas station owner, for instance, right? You're able to have access to that data. And I've actually heard of some examples of, so the data that comes through on the cameras, right? If you're a business owner and you wanted to say like, hey, we're a hair salon, and we got some open chairs right now. Take a picture of what the camera's shooting at, use that as a photo on Twitter, and say, hey, we got some seats open, come on by. So you can actually like use it as a marketing tool. You can use it as a security tool. You can use it, like there's all kinds of ways that you can use it. It's really just up to the creativity of the business owner to be able to pull that feed down, do a screen capture, and then, you know, use it from there. But again, it's high quality video, which is going to be better than your VHS. Yeah. Even if you have Beta, even if you have Betamax. Yeah.
And that just shows the low cost, a low threshold now of this type of, I mean, who knew that we all kind of figured it, but I mean, the speed in which we have HD quality video content now, and multi-use type of networks to be able to deliver this type of content. It's permeating now. You've got the Internet of Things. You've got these layers and layers of new tech that are happening that are being smartly deployed. Yeah, and it's all dialed in for use as opposed to users having to figure out how to use that network. Now it's the inverse, is that companies such as yourself are actually dialing it in based on what the users are really needing, right?
Well, yeah, and there's a user investment angle to that as well, right? For residential customers, we have an app called My Account, right? So you can get on and you can pay your bill, and you can, you know, kind of, and actually I just did a discussion today talking about XFi. And that's a product, again, this is a residential product that we launched, but XFi deals with, again, customers who in their house want to have network control without having to have like a doctorate in network control. Sure. So if there is one, I don't know. But you have these products that we're trying to make it like, okay, here's the technology, but then we understand that like you may not want to get, you know, that advanced degree in IT or whatever in order to figure out how to navigate this, you know, this system. So organize your router if you're a resident. Figure out how to do that, and we'll meet you halfway by giving you this tool that lets you, you know, here's your family members. So like on my phone, right? If I want to manage my network, if my kid hasn't done his homework yet, there you go, and I see his device on there,
throw down,
turn him off. Sorry, buddy, you got to get your homework done. So I can turn off his device, and, like specifically. So you want to have, I mean, without the whole crime and punishment angle within your house, and you know,
actually, you know what? I've embraced that.
Oh, okay.
Aaron's I really have, and my kids hate me for it because literally, as we speak right now, I can shut down my entire house and hear the silent screams of every child
Yeah.
as they're deliberately pulled off the net.
And there is like some certain satisfaction.
There's a
that you can
gratification
get.
there.
Yeah, absolutely. with that level of demagoguery, there is a satisfaction. Absolutely. So it is important though to invest though to make sure that anybody out there can use the product. Right.
Absolutely.
So for business, we're doing Wi-Fi Pro. And Wi-Fi Pro is, again, it's a network control. So you don't have to be an IT guy. You don't have to call an IT guy to figure this out. You know what your network is doing. You know who's on your network.
Right.
So you can figure these things out. And sometimes, like when I opened up my network with my X-Fi, it's like, well, I don't know what device this is. So we're going to turn that one off. And it's probably just like an old cell phone that's like sitting in a drawer or something like that. Who knows, right? But
or neighbors jumping on your network.
Or neighbors jumping on the network, right? Which I thought was secure. So, yeah, you may think that you have all the security in the world, but it's important to be able to see what's on there. And it's important for business owners and residents alike to be able to see that.
Well, I mean, that goes into the space of where residents are. They have to be technologically savvy now. They have to. I mean, it's broadband is the internet. They have to be aware of what is going on in their house. As a parent, you have to know what devices are there. You have a new vigil. You have a new place to govern. It's the networking that's in your home, and to be able to provide a smart environment where you don't have to decipher things. I mean, I can live in MAC addresses just because I've been doing this for 25 years. I wouldn't want to wish that on anybody. So, I mean, be able to provide those type of user interfaces that can swiftly guide parents and be a tool as opposed to a hindrance. That's fantastic.
Right. So that is, that is kind of a priority for Comcast as a company nationally. But I think also locally, it's awesome to see so many good uses of the technology that we're able to use just for ease of use that we can deliver to our customers. It's pretty fantastic.
Very cool. Very cool. So what kind of technological growth have you actually seen over time? And maybe not just in Indianapolis, but since you do represent Comcast, regionally across the country, are you seeing growth and adoption in almost like a topographical map?
Yeah, actually, that's an interesting question because there are some things that may not even fit what. I don't want to put this down, but I think that there are ideas that people have, like of cord cutting, right? Like, oh, people are cutting the cord right now. Nobody wants cable anymore. We saw 10% growth in Indiana last year, just as a state. Yeah. So overall, if I'm to boil down our numbers for video subscribers, we had more video subscribers.
Really?
And it's because we're investing in the platform. It's like one of those if you build it, they will come kind of mentalities, right? So you present a product that people are able to use. Why should the TV be this, when you think about like the amount of time that people spend on their phones, they're walking around with their phones, looking at their phones. I'm over here with my phone. I'm over there with my phone. TV sits in your house. Maybe it's on for an hour in a day, right? Maybe two, right? When they start doing longer Game of Thrones episodes. So with that in mind, right, why not build a platform where the content is there, but also easily searchable or presented to you already? Hey, we noticed that you like this program. How about that program? We've all seen this on Netflix, and Xfinity customers have seen it on X1, and Amazon customers see it on Amazon. Absolutely. So when you have those options and they're right there, you're more likely to have the TV on, and you're more likely to be engaged in the programming. One of the things we found, like with the Olympics coverage, right? And the X1 platform that we use is like super versatile.
Right.
So we dropped in all this Olympic content. And we found that people really liked to watch that Olympic content and made them watch the televised Olympics more because they were more invested in it. Oh, well, I know the backstory of, so-and-so. So I could watch, that athlete. I was happy just to have archery on because I'm like the only guy in Indiana that was like, yay, archery. So, but we had it.
I love the curling on the Winter Olympics.
Curling is wonderful.
That just tickles me thinking.
That's this year or next year? It is next year.
It is, yeah. So I would look for a platform, a video platform, on X1 for the Winter Olympics. I'd be excited about that. See what kind of possibilities we have.
That's heartening because obviously, I mean, we were hearing and have been hearing so many stories about just cutting the cord and leaving and just go Netflix, just go Hulu and what have you. I mean, there's an entire mindset there, right?
Yeah.
Because as it's been conventionally understood is that the cable the basic cable plan wasn't really fractional to users' interest anymore. But so what you're doing is you're matching those interests with this type of X1 platform, so it can be much more customized.
Exactly. And now we do stuff like if you have your X1 on, it'll show you traffic if you want it. So the traffic will be on the TV when you're walking by from the shower into the bedroom. And there's just it's about access. It's about finding the things that our customers want and you know, giving it to them. There's plenty of content out there, but finding it is pretty tough sometimes.
Very cool. Oh, well, I'm a big believer in everything that you're doing there, and I truly appreciate the innovation and the stewardship that Comcast is actually providing for not only Indianapolis and Indiana, but also across the country. From Wi-Fi analytics, can you actually dive in and understand a little bit more about, from a company's usage, getting into understanding easy to understand behavior patterns of, now I'm about to go stalker of my employees, but can you actually see swells of bandwidth and this, that, and the other easily with what products you provide at the smart office level?
Right. As a business owner, if you want to track with like Wi-Fi Pro, if your employees are on that network, you would be able to track that, and you would be able to, not necessarily like per website, although there are settings for that as well.
Sure.
But you would be able to, okay, so like I've got with my X-Fi at home, right? I know for a fact, it's like I can look and see like, oh, okay, so 11 o'clock was the time where I said, okay, you can play video games now. So my son picked up his phone and started playing video games, and I could see the data usage go up under his user device. So since I was able to see that, I know, okay, well, he's in that given time. But if I see it go over to noon and I only told him 1 hour, then I can dial him up and be like, hey, buddy, can you get off the network now? Come on. You know, we had a deal. We had a deal.
It freaks them out. It really does.
It does. Again, that level of demagoguery to just, I am all-knowing, and I see your network, sir.
Push past that.
Yeah. I don't think I'd want to be a kid nowadays, now that I think about it. Yeah.
It's like whack-a-mole. They keep on popping up everywhere.
Right, exactly.
You have the household EMP that you can actually... well, fantastic. Hey, you got some promotions going on right now. Is that right?
We've got promotions going on depending on where you live and what you're doing. I mean, there's always, for our 1 gig service, we've got some good promotions for that. Again, depending on where you live residentially, because we've got some markets are super competitive, and so we've really got to like stay competitive with the marketplace. But the technology is also expensive to install too. So like with our DOCSIS 3.1 launch, giving 1 gig service to people, we've got some good promotions that I just recommend people go to xfinity.com and check out some of the great deals that we have.
Fantastic. So you can actually connect with actual Comcast business on Twitter at Comcast IN. That's the Indianapolis or the Indiana Comcast brand. Xfinity.com. Can they also follow you? Do you have your brand out there?
I am one Mike Wilson. ONE.
Okay.
Mike Wilson.
Cool.
So you're free to follow me if you have any tech questions or anything like that. I can always steer people in the right direction. But I also monitor Comcast IN on Twitter. So if you send a question there, I'm happy to help out.
Cool. Let me last question for you regarding Comcast and its involvement with the community. I mean, you're doing a fantastic job from a network and a technology purveyorship. Can you tell me some of the more philanthropic executions that's going on over from Comcast?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we just did, we had a Comcast Cares Day, took place in late April, but I was super proud of that one, and I'll tell you why, because we did. Like from the corporate level, we did a lot of listening as far as what our employees wanted to do. Hey, what you guys are out in the community? What do you want to do? And we had one of our salespeople from Frankfurt said, you know what? I went through the Boys and Girls Club. I went through the Boys Club when I was a kid.
Sure.
Had a tough family growing up, so it was nice to have that. I'd really like to be able to help the Clinton County Boys and Girls Club. And so we listened, and we did a big project at the Clinton County Boys and Girls Club. But we did projects, School for the Blind. We do a lot with Big Brothers Big Sisters. We do.
Very cool.
So yeah, we are in the community. We do smaller though community events all over the place. So we won't do like one huge Indianapolis event. We'll do like 7 small Indianapolis events.
More strategic.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's strategic or not, I just feel like we make a bigger difference when you're helping out on a smaller level with smaller organizations that are, maybe they're just trying to do this or that. Like, hey, we really want to pave or do landscaping or paint. And we're able to do that and get it done in a day. So I think stuff like that is cool, but we also do like leaders and achievers. So we're big on leadership, technology, grants, any kind of learning lab that we can help people out with. We just helped ARC of Northeast Indiana is the organization. And they had a group of special needs people that they identified as people who could be self-sufficient if they only had the skills to get online, figure that out. So we sponsored a lab. Gave them $10,000. Here's a learning lab, and they were able to make some of the special needs citizens that they had there self-sufficient. So, I mean, identifying stuff where we can actually make a big difference and a big impact, even if it's 10 lives out of Fort Wayne, that's 10 lives that are now self-sufficient. I think that's awesome. So, yeah, we try to find good projects like that, and it's not about writing the check. It's about actually caring about what you're doing. And I think we've got a lot of employees that care. We all live in the neighborhood. There's a lot of neighborhoods that we cover. So yeah, we do make those investments, even if they're not huge ones. They're significant in the fact that there's a lot of heart behind it and a lot of work that goes into it.
Well, that's fantastic. It's great to be able to hear companies like that giving back to the community, because I mean, you want to make sure that you don't skip over those particular underpinnings of what it really means to be part of a community, especially what Indianapolis is doing, because there's so many organizations and so many worthy causes for that could benefit from support of
Absolutely.
Comcast.
Absolutely.
So is there anything else that we can help you do today?
I think you guys are awesome. I love this setup. I'm totally impressed. I think this is Wonderful. So,
Thank you.
So I mean, I'm not just a guest. I'm also a listener.
He kind of fit right in, didn't he? You didn't have the shades of gray that's
right. Wasn't right in?
I was told about the motif earlier, so I was like, well, I better be on the monochromatic scale today.
Well, fantastic, Mike. It's been a pleasure meeting with you, and it is absolutely great to be able to hear about Comcast and what they're doing from an innovation standpoint, and the vote of confidence for the city of Indianapolis and Indiana that we are a burgeoning technological hub. And I mean, we know that from a lot of different interviews that we have regularly on the show, and it's just exciting to be able to be part of this community right now.
Yeah, it is awesome, and it is great the way that everybody pulls together around a cause here. I mean, there's the whole, and I talk to my wife about this all the time too. It's like there is a great work ethic to the Midwest that I love. And I think it is. I mean, it is alive and well in Indianapolis and Indiana as a state. I mean, Hoosiers work hard. So I think it is so cool to be able to put a product out there and know that not only are the people installing the network going to be good people, but the people developing products for that network are going to be good, hardworking people. It's like that is all there all the way down the line, the people making it happen, the people making those transactions. That is the cool thing about doing business in Indianapolis.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much. We're gonna use that as the intro for the show.
Yeah, we'll just record it. We're gonna record it, and we'll just play it back every week.
All right, Mike. Stay true, and remember, sharing is caring. So we certainly want Comcast to share it live, and then as we go into post production, lift up at least your segment, right?
Oh, we shared in pre-production, sir. So
I saw that.
It is on like Donkey Kong right now. I will tell you that.
Very cool. All right. Well, thanks so much, Mike, and we'll be watching you guys from afar.